Hello, and welcome to Practice with Valid Studios. My name is Val, and today I'll be guiding us through a lovely intuitive and mindful yoga flow practice. Although not mandatory, it is handy to have some support close by today, so if you have some yoga blocks, make sure that they're handy. Otherwise, you can always improvise by using anything that'll offer support, whether that be books or blocks or, pieces of wood, pieces of 2x4, anything at all. Get creative, and of course, it's not mandatory. We can always adapt without props if we don't have any. So let's start seated comfortably on our mats. Maybe that means sitting up on a prop, a couch cushion, or a block, just having the hips elevated a little sometimes helps to release the low back. So once you're comfortable, I do invite you to close down the eyes, but if you're not ready for that just yet, pick a single point of focus, and together let's find the rhythm of our breath. Really allowing the breath to arrive naturally in this moment and start to listen to the rhythm and sound of your breath. Start to tune in to that internal rhythm and see what's happening within you. If you start to scan the body from the top of the head, the crown, all the way down to the soles of the feet, what do you find along the way? Can we tune in to those areas of tension or resistance and start to intend them to soften down? Listen to what arises in the mind and in the heart, and then you can pick an intention for your day or your practice. And if you're not already naturally doing so, as you allow the breath to expand, take your inhales through your nose and your exhales out the mouth. Bringing in a little bit more intention and control behind the breath. Allow it to get a little deeper, wider, and longer. And we'll start to add some very soft movement, warming up the head and neck. Allow the head to bow down towards the heart. And then moving the head side to side, nice and soft at first. Maybe after a moment or two, you'd like to increase or decrease the speed of the movement, and maybe even come to a space where you're drawing full circles with your head and neck. Remember to move in both directions, left and right, whether you're rocking the head from side to side or playing with full circular motion. After another moment, allowing the head to return to center, chin tucked in towards the sternum and these shoulders nice and relaxed. As you inhale, bring your gaze up and forward, lift your shoulders up, back and down 1 to 3 times. Really just noticing how the shoulder girdle feels. Then settling the shoulders, collarbones nice and broad, shoulders away from the ears. Settle down the low body. See if you can anchor both of your sits bones, and then inhaling, bring the arms overhead, looking up and really reaching and extending up. Exhaling through the mouth, turn your palms down and out, lowering all the way down. A few more times over, reaching up and stretching, lengthening. And then reaching wide and out as you lower down. Keep moving and breathing. Maybe finding a little more length and height with each repetition. Excellent. Let's keep our right hand where it is and then lift your left arm up to the sky. Keeping hips and heart forward facing, walk it out to the right, really reaching those left fingers up and over. And then a little bit of pressure into the right hand to assist us up. Bring the right hand up, lower left hand, hips and heart stay forward facing. Extend and reach over towards the left side of the room. Coming up as you inhale, switching sides, reaching up and over towards the right side of the room. Up and center, and then over towards the left. One more time to each side. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Excellent. Let's come back up to center. As you exhale, lower both of your hands down. Inhale, bring the arms up one more time. Palms forward facing. Let's transition into tabletop here. Send your hands forward, shifting your weight forward. We'll send our knees back underneath our hips. Spreading fingers nice and wide. Let's start with a nice straight spine. Drawing your navel in, crown forward, tail back. And then move freely and intuitively here. So you might choose to start with some cat-cows, moving forward and back in a linear motion. Maybe you'd like to take some lateral movement with a flat back, curling over towards one side, creating a C shape with the spine, and then over to the opposite side, creating a backwards C with the spine. Or maybe you'd like to draw some circles with the hips, really rounding it out. Whatever movement or options that you choose here, remember to go in both directions. One more full breath. We'll meet back at center, into our tabletop, tucking our toes onto the mat. Lift your hips up and back for your first downward facing dog of practice. Take some time and walk it out, pedal it out, waking up the back of the legs, really reaching your seat and your tailbone up and back, keeping length along the spine. Head and neck remain soft. Excellent. Let's come to stillness in our downward facing dog. Taking a full breath here, really pressing equally into the hands and feet and reaching tailbone up and back. Bend the knees, look forward, and bring the feet to the back of your hands. Folding in half as you arrive at the top of the mat. Then bending the knees, lift the head, lift the heart, the arms, and come all the way up. Extending and reaching up. Exhale, lower your hands by your sides, coming into mountain pose. Let's take a full breath, grounding down into the feet. Long spine, relax jaw and shoulders. Inhaling, bring the arms overhead. Taking a very mild back bend, squeezing the glutes, keep the heart active, lifting as you reach up and back. Realigning, stacking the vertebrae, and then folding from the hips. Exhale. Come up halfway. Placing your hands down on the mat, walk, hopper, step your feet back to plank. Inhaling at the top of your plank. You can drop the knees, of course, if you'd like. Let's lower the heart into chaturanga. Coming all the way down and then up into a mild cobra, gentle back bend, and taking it to downward facing dog. Let's take a full breath here. We'll drop the knees down onto the mat and then extend your right foot out to the side of your mat. Now, keeping your hips in one line, walk your hands towards you and we'll come up onto our left knee and our right foot. So the sole of our right foot remains down, hips and heart stay forward facing. Bring your arms overhead and really anchor that right foot down. Really engage and press and lift upward with the crown of the head. Really finding that engagement and activation. Lowering the right hand down onto the right leg. Reach up a little taller through the left fingertips and then reach leaning over towards the right. Coming back up to center, bring the right arm up. You can place your left hand on your hip, on a support or yoga block, or maybe even reach it all the way down onto the mat. Keep your hips and heart forward facing. Start to reach your right arm up and over towards the left. Coming back up to center. And then taking it back down, palms in front of you. So we're in our tabletop with our right leg extended wide. Let's do 3 cat-cows here. Really feel into the ball and socket joint of the hip. Really feel into the low back and the low abdominals. Soften forward on inhale, heart and tail curl upward. Rounding away from the earth on exhale. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. One more time, coming into cow. And rounding away into the cat. Coming back to center. Tail shines back, crown shines forward. Right hand is going to stay underneath the right shoulder. Draw your navel in towards the spine. Start to lift your left arm up towards the sky. And as you exhale, palm of the left hand facing up, thread it behind your right wrist all the way through until the back of your shoulder just taps the mat. Then press into the right hand, lift left arm all the way back up. Exhale, thread the left hand through behind the right wrist. One more time, coming all the way up with left hand. And threading all the way through. This time we're going to hold for a full breath, so allow the shoulder and the head to rest down all the way onto the mat or on a block. Pressing into the right hand, come all the way up. Left hand extends upward. And lowering left hand under left shoulder. Send your right foot long behind you. And then bending the knee, come back to tabletop. Let's take it to the opposite side. Extend your left leg out to the side, and then walking your hands towards you. Come all the way up. So our hips stay in line, forward facing, heart forward facing. Sole of the left foot is now entirely engaged and pressing into the mat. Right hip and right knee stack. We're really lifting and lengthening. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, lower the left hand down onto the left leg. Reach up tall through the right side and start to lean over towards the left. Coming back up, bring the left hand up. Right hand can go onto the hip, onto a support beside you, or directly onto the mat. Reach up and over with the left arm, over towards the right side of the room. Coming back up. Palms forward, we'll lower our hands in front of us. Coming into our tabletop with our leg extended out to the side. 3 cat-cows, soften forward as you inhale. Round away from the earth, exhale. 2 more at your own pace. Beautiful, last one. Coming back to center, left hand directly under left shoulder, navel draws in to protect the low back. Start to lift the right arm up towards the sky. Exhaling, palm facing up, thread it behind left wrist, all the way through. Tap that shoulder onto the mat if it's available, and then coming all the way up, twisting and opening. 2 more times, thread through as you exhale. Excellent. This time as you thread through, let's hold and take a full breath. Press into the left hand, come up. Reach right arm up, open, and lower the right hand underneath right shoulder. Send the left leg long behind you, and then bend the knee, coming back into tabletop. Take a full breath in table, pressing away from the earth, nice and active. Toes will tuck onto the mat, and we'll lift our hips up and back for down dog. Take a full breath. Walk, hop, or step your feet to the front of your mat. Fold at the top of the mat, and coming up halfway. Here you can take your yoga blocks or your props if you'd like and place them underneath your hands. Let's take a giant step back with the right foot. So we're staying in a lunge here. Okay. You can have your feet as close or as far apart as you'd like. We're going to bring some forward and back movement into the hip joint and into the low back area. So you're going to move at your own pace, really listening to the body. Listen to the breath. Hips are going to stay in line with the front of the mat. We're going to send our hips forward, dipping them ever so slightly down, and then sending our hips back. Remember to keep the hips parallel with the front of the mat. You can walk your blocks back or just keep them where they are. We're just going to shift our hips forward, trying to get into the front of that hip joint, and then sending the hips back, keeping here the left foot on the mat. Hips stay in line with the front of the mat as we move forward and back. A couple more times, move with the breath. And one last time. Let's come back into lunge. You can fold over the top of your mat or offer a little support by adding a folded towel, blanket, or cushion under the right knee. Lower your right knee down. You can keep your toes on the mat for the moment if you'd like. Press into your left toe and lift the upper body. Bring your arms overhead. Now here, we want to keep our hips in line with the front of our mat and our tailbone pointing down. Can you feel the stretch at the front of your right hip and down the edge of your right thigh? Let's turn our palms forward facing. Loop the fingers of your left hand around your right wrist and see if you can lift up a little taller through those right fingertips. Keep your hips and heart forward facing. Lean over towards the left. Take a full breath here. Coming back up, release your right wrist, release your hands all the way down. Pressing into your right toes, lift your knee, look forward and step your right foot forward next to the left. Keeping a flat back. Inhale, exhale, let's step the left foot back into our lunge now. Feet as close together or as far apart as you'd like. We're going to keep the hips in line with the front of the mat. As you inhale, we're going to drop the hips forward, opening the front of the left hip. Keep the shoulders and jaw soft. And as you exhale, send your hips back. Beautiful. Coming forward as you inhale. And taking it back. A few more times at your own pace. And last time, take it back and forward. Coming into our lunge, you can offer support under the left knee. Let's lower the left knee. Pressing into the right big toe, come up with the upper body, arms overhead, tail points down. See if you can lengthen up. Palms forward facing. We'll now loop right fingers around the left wrist. Reach up a little taller, and when you're ready, start to lean over towards the right side of the room. Back to center. Release the wrist, lower hands all the way down onto the mat. Lift your left knee and send your right foot back to plank, hips up and back to downward facing dog. Let's take a full breath. Lowering the knees down onto the mat. In whatever way suits your body, make your way onto your back body. I like to walk my knees over to one side, let my hips fall to the other, let the legs swing forward, make sure there's space behind me, and lay down gently. Make sure the back of your head feels nice and supported, shoulders and hips as well, with space between your ears and your shoulders. Let's start here with our knees bent, feet about hip width apart. Settle the spine down, and then we'll cross our right ankle over top of our left knee. Using your right hand, just open gently through that right hip, pressing the right thigh bone ever so slightly away from you. Now, if there's space and you'd like to take it a little further, let's bring that left knee in towards us. See if you can wrap your fingers or your hands behind your thigh. Take a full breath. Now, if you'd like to take it a little further, you can extend your left foot up towards the sky, and then gently bring that thigh towards you. Maybe your hands can come up the leg to the back of your calf. Keep your big left toe pointed towards your nose or your forehead. Now, you can choose to just hang out here or wherever you already are. Or perhaps you'd like to bring a very mild rocking side to side motion. Offering a little massage to the low back, the sacrum, and then deep into that ball and socket joint of the right hip. Maybe you're feeling it somewhere else completely. Remember to keep the jaw soft, breathing fluidly. We'll recenter. Release the left leg if you have it, slowly allowing left foot to return down to the mat. Once the left foot enters into contact with the mat, take a moment and then uncross the right leg. Let both legs come long onto the mat. Let the legs and the feet be heavy and take a full breath, really allowing the weight of your body to drop down. And we'll take it to the opposite side. Bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat about hip width apart. Crossing left ankle over top of right knee. Using left hand, gently press thigh bone away from you. Evaluate how it feels on this side. If you'd like more, we can bring the right thigh in towards us and interlace fingers behind it, taking a breath or two. If we'd like more on this side, we can also extend the right leg up, big toe points towards the nose or the forehead. Maybe eventually our hands will reach up towards our calf. And then in whatever variation of this pose that you're in, you can choose to stay completely still or add a little dynamic rocking motion from side to side, offering those fascia and muscles a little stimulation, a little massage. Coming back to center when that feels complete. Realigning, release the right leg, slowly allow the right foot to return to the mat. Taking a moment, then the left foot will return to the mat. Allow both legs to come long on the mat. Reach your arms up overhead, really extending hands and feet away from each other. Then exhaling, bring the knees in towards the heart, wrapping your arms around the legs, and give yourself a great big hug. Squeeze and exhale, compress, tight ball. Surrender the body down. Allow the shoulders and head to relax. The feet return to the mat. Legs can slide long, arms by our sides, setting ourselves up for our final resting pose. And take a nice big breath in. Exhale. And take the next few breaths to scan the body. Maybe you choose to close your eyes or pick a point to gaze upon on the ceiling. Surrender control over breath and body. And intend to release all that no longer serves you, whether that be emotional, energetic, or physical tensions and resistances. Just let it release. Here is where we'll end our shared practice today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. It is always such a privilege and pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time, namaste.